back with another reaction video. I am back. Let's get straight into this video. Today, we got the Day Larry Bird Show, Manute Bol, who is the boss. We back with these Larry Bird videos. I know y'all been waiting, but yeah, it's just been a lot of stuff going on for me. A lot of changes, a lot of stuff, but we back into it, y'all. Let's get straight into the video.
The date was January 27th, 1988. The Boston Celtics were at home in the Garden, hosting a Bullets team that brought size, scoring, and one of the most unique defenders the league had ever seen. Future Hall of Famer Moses Malone anchored the front court, while Jeff Malone handled scoring on the perimeter. But off the bench came someone who seemed like he belonged in another dimension entirely, Manute Bol. At 7 feet 7 inches with an 8-foot wingspan, Bol didn't play traditional defense. He erased angles. He warped spacing. And when he finally stepped on the court in the second quarter, he became the center of attention. But this script isn't about how tall Manute Bol was. It's about what happened when he tried to challenge Larry Bird. Because Bird had already done his damage before Bol ever checked in. And when the two finally shared the floor, the matchup became something else entirely. It was length versus timing, height versus touch, instinct versus reach. Bird didn't blink. This isn't a game of back-and-forth highlights. It's a study in patience, confidence, and problem-solving. Bird didn't just attack defenders, he dismantled them. And even when the most intimidating shot blocker in the league stood in front of him, he didn't adjust who he was. Because on this night, it didn't matter how tall the challenge was. Larry Bird was going to show exactly who was in control. Boston opened the game with their offense running exactly the way it was designed through movement, timing, and the hands of Larry Bird. On the first possession, Bird curled off a screen set by Robert Parrish. As the defense followed Bird, Parrish sealed his defender perfectly. Bird received the ball in stride but didn't even glance at the basket. He immediately fired a sharp bounce pass inside, allowing Parrish to go straight up for a clean dunk. It was the kind of quick decision that didn't show up in highlight reels, but set the tone for what was coming. Shortly after, Bird made another impact play, not with finesse, but with anticipation. Moses Malone was trying to keep a loose ball in play, but Bird was already there. He reached in, took the ball right out of Malone's hands, and scored a simple layup at the other end. It wasn't glamorous, but it was pure effort, and it gave the Celtics an early edge. Bird's rhythm began to build from there. On one play, he looked like he was about to use a screen, drawing his defender into a false step. Instead, he cut sharply back toward the elbow, caught the ball in stride, and knocked down a smooth jumper. One of the more difficult shots came soon after. Bird used a back screen as a decoy, nudged his defender off balance, and created just enough separation to get into a one-dribble pull-up. It was heavily contested and off balance, but Bird hit it cleanly, the ball barely brushing the rim. The timing was precise, and the shot selection left no room for doubt. On the break, he remained active. Boston pushed the ball in transition, and even though Bird was barely open, he caught a pass in motion and knocked down an off-balance jumper without hesitation. He was reading the game at a different pace than anyone else on the floor. Not long after, Bird slowed things down. He took a couple of dribbles, backed his defender into the paint, and used his body to create a soft fadeaway angle. He rose and hit the jumper going left, showing how comfortable he was scoring in every spot on the floor. By this point, he was 7 for 7 from the field, but Boston kept going to him. On one possession, Danny Ainge drew the defense in with a drive and kicked it to Bird waiting in the short corner. He caught it and fired immediately, knocking it down without needing to square up. The Celtics then fed him in the post again, and Bird used his height and touch to rise over the defender and knock it down, drawing a foul in the process and converting the free throw. Just before the quarter ended, Boston ran a well-executed curl set. Bird looped around the screen, caught the ball in stride, and finished at the rim. He ended the quarter with a perfect 10 for 10 shooting line, 2 made free throws, 22 points. Every shot looked different, but the result was the same Larry Bird in full command, playing with a level of confidence and control few players in the game have ever matched. As the second quarter got underway, it marked the first time Manute Bol stepped onto the floor. The 7'7" shot-blocking phenom was entering the game off the bench, and all eyes were immediately drawn to him. Just by standing in the paint, he altered the way Boston approached the rim. On one of the early possessions, he forced hesitation simply by being in position. Artis Gilmore looked to go up strong, but paused just long enough for the officials to call a 3-second violation. It wasn't a block. It didn't need to be. Manute's size was enough to start shifting decisions on the floor. But while Bol's impact was being felt defensively, Larry Bird was still in rhythm offensively. On one possession, he set a solid screen for Robert Parrish and instantly recognized the opening left behind. As Parrish rolled, Bird popped out, caught the pass in rhythm, and hit the jumper before the defense could recover. It was textbook execution, anticipation, awareness, and poise. The Celtics then ran a familiar floppy set. Bird curled off the screen, gathered the ball in motion, and floated in a soft, one-footed jumper from mid-range. His balance, even in motion, never wavered. It was another clean make. Later in the quarter, his defender gave him just a sliver of space on the catch near the perimeter. Bird didn't hesitate. Even with a foot on the line, he rose up and let it go, draining another shot with full confidence. Moments after, he found himself in the low post, being guarded by a smaller man. No fakes, no wasted movement, just a turn over his right shoulder and a pure jumper that fell softly through. At the half, Bird had already piled up 32 points, and though Manute Bol was starting to make his presence known, there was no slowing Bird down just yet. The third quarter continued with Boston riding the hot hand. On a familiar floppy set, Bird curled around a screen set by Parrish, and with his defender caught just a step behind, he rose up from the short corner and knocked down the jumper in rhythm. It was a shot he'd hit countless times before, and this one was no different, pure and confident. Washington looked for a response inside, and it was Manute Bol making his presence felt again. On one sequence, he held his ground as Kevin McHale tried to work his way into a shot near the rim. Bol's length forced McHale into an awkward release, and the ball clanked off the iron. His defensive awareness didn't go unnoticed, though later in the quarter, he was whistled for an illegal defense, caught lingering too far from his man in the paint. Meanwhile, Bird kept going. Posting up Jeff Malone, who gave up both height and strength, Bird pivoted cleanly to the middle, absorbed the bump as he fell forward, and still managed to make the shot for the and one. The Celtics kept pushing the pace after a stop, and it was Bird again who made the next big play. Stripping Jeff Malone clean near half court, Bird raced ahead in transition. Kevin McHale found him in stride, and despite Bol rotating late to contest the finish, Bird laid it in with a soft touch off the glass. Bird's next moment was a quick jab and fire. With his defender giving him just enough space, he didn't hesitate. He rose, released, and buried yet another jumper. By the end of the quarter, Bird was still the most composed player on the floor, and Bol remained the lone bright spot on defense for Washington, making every possession just a bit harder. The fourth quarter opened with the Celtics looking to close things out behind their undisputed leader. On a routine possession, Bird caught the ball in the corner with both feet just inside the three-point line. There was no wasted motion. He rose up immediately, and as the shot dropped through the net, the numbers told the story. Bird now had 44 points, more than the rest of his team combined. It wasn't just scoring, it was the control and conviction behind every shot.
Yo, man, Larry Bird is a monster. More than his other whole team. Like, I'm telling you, this man is a beast, y'all. He is a beast.
But the Bullets weren't ready to concede. Just moments later, Darren Day made a drive to the rim, only to be met by Manute Bol under the basket. Bol timed his jump perfectly, sending the layup attempt flying off target. The block ignited a fast break, and Jeff Malone finished at the other end, trimming the gap and injecting life into Washington's bench. Back on the other end, Boston ran a familiar action. Bird curled off a screen from Robert Parrish, and the moment two defenders jumped toward him expecting the shot, Bird dropped a perfect pass down low. Parrish took care of the rest with an easy finish. Once again a product of Bird's vision and understanding of defensive reactions. Ball wasn't done. On the next trip, Parrish found himself with a bit of space and pulled up for a jumper, but Bol got just enough of it to alter its flight. Later, he made an even bolder statement, rising to meet Parrish at the rim and cleanly rejecting a dunk attempt. It was one of Bol's most impressive plays of the night. With under 2 minutes remaining, the Celtics looked again to Bird. Matched up against Bernard King, he spun toward the paint and was immediately grabbed as he rose. The foul sent him to the line, where he calmly sank both shots. Bol then made one final contribution. Fouled on a defensive rebound, he went to the line and confidently knocked down both free throws with just 40 seconds left, cutting the lead to 2 and giving the Bullets a chance. But in the final moments, Boston held firm. The Celtics would go on to win 106-100, with Bird's brilliance and Bol's late resistance shaping the dramatic conclusion. By the final buzzer, it was clear this game had turned into something more than just another regular season matchup. Larry Bird had reminded everyone why his prime wasn't just great, it was generational. And even with the towering presence of Manute Bol altering shots and grabbing attention in the second half, there was no doubt who truly dictated the night. On this floor, against this lineup, Larry Bird showed exactly what it meant to be the boss.
You damn right about that, man. He definitely is the boss, man. I'm telling you, he is a beast, man. I'm so glad to be back with these videos. That was a good video right there. I've been seeing a lot of other videos too that I got saved up, so we're gonna knock these videos out, y'all. But appreciate y'all so much, man. I seen the comments. I know I'm coming back and everything, so we gonna get this ball on the road again, and we gonna keep going, y'all. And I definitely for sure, like locked in, definitely have all the time. But anyway, we out of here. On to the next video. Let me know y'all thoughts on this video. And yeah, we back, and we back at the grind, y'all. Subscribe if you're new. Hit that like button. Turn on that bell. Don't miss no videos. Love y'all so much. I'm out. Peace.